Okay. Okay, does everyone have a mat to lie on? We're going to start standing, but we will eventually end up on the mat, and also some water to keep you hydrated. All righty. Okay. Hope you can all hear and see me properly. I know you can't see my head, but we're going to end up in the mat. We're just going to do our warm up in this position. So standing hip distance apart, your feet are parallel. When I say hip distance apart, that means your feet are directly under your hip bones. So these are your hip bones, these two pointy bones. Make sure your feet are directly under that. Most people think hip distance apart is way bigger than their hips. Your hips are actually here. Okay, let's get focused and arriving onto our mat. So let's inhale into our nose, big exhale through our mouth. Okay, let's do 3 big belly breaths to get sorted. So belly breathing, hands on your belly. When you inhale, I want you to inhale into your belly. Make your belly big like a balloon, and then exhale, deflate that belly. Good. Okay, so we're getting started. We're just doing some belly breathing, inhaling into your belly, exhaling, deflating that belly. One more big belly breath before we switch to Pilates breathing. Inhaling into your belly, exhale, feeling that belly fall. Good. Now we're going to do some Pilates breathing. Good morning for those of you that just joined us. We're just getting started doing some breath work. So get on your feet, standing firmly on the ground. We're getting into some Pilates breathing. So I want one hand onto your chest, one hand onto your belly. Now Pilates breathing is different from belly breathing. It's the upside down way of belly breathing. So I want you to breathe into your rib cage to this hand. So inhaling into your hand, and as you exhale, I want you to pull those abdominals together, causing your belly to pull away from this hand. So inhaling up, exhaling, activating that belly. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Good, keep going. Inhaling through that hand and the top, and then exhaling, activating that belly. Okay, let's keep going. So Pilates is very technical. It's all about breath work. Pilates breath work is also very technical. It's taken me years to really understand the proper way to do it. So don't worry too much. If you feel upside down, don't really know what's going on, that's completely normal. The more you do Pilates classes and the more you listen to my cues, the more you listen to your body, you'll eventually get it. So basically inhaling through that rib cage, exhaling, bringing that core set in away from your clothes. Good. Okay, one more time and we're going to come down onto the mat. Inhaling into the chest, exhaling, bringing the abdominals in. Good. Okay, coming from the top of your mat, we're going to do some roll downs to end up in the bottom of the mat. So feet firmly planted, hip distance apart. Let's inhale, extend your head towards the ceiling. As you exhale, chin to chest, and slowly de-stack your spine, bone by bone, slowly and mindfully scoop in that belly as you come down. Your hands are heavy, your head is heavy, softening those knees here. So I want you to ragdoll over your lower body. So your top body is completely dead over your lower body. So you're releasing any tension. I want you to feel where you're tight in your spine. I want you to release that head. So the head is heavy. Release those shoulders. Do not hold your body. Just let it fall. Let gravity work with you. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Good. On the next exhale, I want you to slowly rebuild that spine bone by bone, scooping that belly as you come up. So really feeling like you've got a little bit of space within your vertebrae here. Good. One more time. Inhaling, extend that head to the ceiling. I know you can't see my head. We will come down in a minute. Exhale, come down. Bone by bone, de-stack it. Scoop that belly as you come down. Your upper body feels heavy, softening the knees. Good. Okay, take a moment to just feel how your spine is feeling, how your body is feeling. Take note of where you're tight. Take note of how you feel right now. Okay, on the next exhale, we're going to walk our hands down to 4-point kneeling. Okay, in 4-point kneeling here. I want you to inhale, gazes up, and slowly drop that belly, open that chest in front of you. And then exhale, round that spine, drop your head into an angry cat pose. Good. Inhale up, arc that spine. Exhale, drop that head, curve that spine. You can move quicker here. I just want to bring some juice into that spine. Let's warm up, especially if you just rolled out of bed or just come from a walk. You want to give some mobility to that spine, especially if you have some back pain, which is probably all of us. Okay, inhaling up, exhaling down. Okay, continuing with the warm up. Inhaling here. As you exhale, I want you to take one hand, reach it to the ceiling, and then exhale, thread that needle. So you're reaching to the opposite under the armpit and then coming back. Dynamic moving, opposite hand. Inhale, comes towards the ceiling. Exhale, feeding it underneath the opposite armpit, getting a shoulder stretch. Good. We're moving dynamically here. One more each side. Reaching to the ceiling, feeding it under your armpit. Good. Okay, here, rocking back, rocking forward, rocking back, rocking forward. Just giving our shoulders some warm up. Okay, one more time. Okay, now finding stillness here. Talking alignment, making sure your wrist, elbow, shoulders are stacked. Your knee and your pelvis are stacked. Your toes are tucked under. That belly is in. Inhaling up into your rib cage, exhaling, bringing that belly in. There's an imaginary cup of tea on that sacrum that we don't want to spill. We're going to do some movement now. Do not spill that hot cup of tea. Okay, let's inhale. Gaze is just to the top of the mat. Inhaling here. As you exhale, lifting that knee off the mat and then lowering down. Again, inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Inhaling, lift, exhale, lower. So as you exhale to lower, you're using those deep core muscles to keep that cup of tea from not spilling. Good. Lifting and lowering for 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming back for a second, shaking out those wrists. If your wrists are too sore for this, you can do this on your elbows like this. Good. We're going to do that again, but before we do that, we're coming into pike. Pike is downward dog for you yogis. So in downward dog, we're just going to warm up our hamstrings, pedaling one, heel lifting, alternate. So walking the dog, this is called in yoga. For those of you that practice yoga, good. 4 more times. 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees down, coming back to our knee hover. Okay, belly is in, cup of tea is back. Inhaling to prep. As you exhale, lift, inhale, lower. Lift, inhale, lower. The breathing is backwards this time. This time I want you to exhale to lift, inhale to lower. Good. And we're going for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Coming in to a child's pose, pressing your pelvis onto those heels and pushing the mat away from you with the palms of your hands. Taking a breather here and exhaling. Good. Inhale here. On your next exhale, I want you to articulate your spine like we did in the roll up until you're seated on your bottom. Okay, coming into lying down on the mat now. So lying down on the mat, your knees are bent. We're going to do some bridging, but before we do bridging, I want to talk alignment. I know it's kind of hard for you to see me, especially when I'm going to talk about the spine. So bear with me. I will cue you as much as possible. Hands on your hip bones, which is the pointy part in your pelvis. Your feet are parallel, flat on the ground. And I want you to feel where your spine is touching the mat. I want you to make sure your lumbar spine or your lower back has that natural curve. We all have that natural curve in our lower back. I want you to make sure you're lying down without pressing it into the mat. It's just natural. The curve is there. Imagine there's a wet sponge under that curve. Okay. So let's take an inhale here, inhaling into a rib cage. As you exhale, I want you to tuck your pelvis under and flatten that lower back onto the mat. So as you flatten that lower back into the mat, your pelvis curls a little bit. And if you're picturing the wet sponge, you're squeezing the wet sponge of all the water with your lower back. And then inhale, return back to neutral spine. Okay, again, exhale, press that lower back onto the mat, squeezing that sponge, and then come back to neutral spine. In neutral spine, your hip bones and your pubic bones are all in the same horizontal plane, and there's that natural curve of your lower back still there. When you press your lower back into the mat on an exhale, that's called imprinting your spine. So you're imprinting your spine onto the mat. Okay, good. Coming back to a neutral spine, your hands are now pressed down onto the mat. Let's come up into a bridge. So let's take an inhale to start. As you exhale, tuck that pelvis under, bring your spine into an imprint, squeeze that water out of the imaginary sponge, and slowly lift your spine bone by bone, slowly and mindfully, until your weight is in your shoulder girdle. Your hips are open to the ceiling. Your glutes and your hamstrings are turned on, activating. You can feel it. Good morning. Okay, inhaling at the top, exhale, placing that spine back down on the ground, bone by bone. Do not forget to squeeze that wet sponge on the bottom and then coming back to neutral spine. Okay, let's go again. Inhaling to pause, exhale, coming out bone by bone, lifting that spine off like a string of pearls slowly and gracefully. At the top, your weight's in your shoulder girdle. Your chest is not flared open. Okay, inhale at the top, exhale, coming back down. I want you to do 2 more at your own time. So I will do 2 more as well. I know this bridge is you've probably done bridges before, which is up and down, hinging at the hips, dropping up and down. But in Pilates, this articulation, bone by bone, as you give each vertebrae movement is so good for lower back pain, so good for mobility, and so good for aging. As we age, if we don't use our mobility, we will lose it. So this is why Pilates is great, because if you give each bone the mobility, you'll feel so young as you age. Okay. Have I done 2? I think I've done 2. Okay, let's go again. Inhaling here. As you exhale, you're going to meet me at the top of your bridge. Okay. At the top of your bridge, we are holding here. I want you to make sure your knees stay parallel. I want you to make sure your hips are open, your ribs are not flared. Your glutes are on. I know you're working hard. We're going to pulse up towards the ceiling. So we're going to pulse up an inch, down an inch, up an inch, down an inch. That's right. Let's really work the glutes. We're going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Exhale. Bone by bone, coming back down, not forgetting to squeeze that wet sponge under your lower back as you come down back to neutral. Good, going again. Inhaling here, exhaling, coming back up, meeting me at the top. This time we're going to do some single leg work, which is going to be challenging, but I know you can do it. Okay, so at the top, you're going to sink all your weight into the left leg. Okay, so take an inhale here. As you exhale, you're going to lift that right leg to tabletop, and then lower, sink all your weight to the right leg, lifting your left leg to tabletop, and then lower, pausing here, and then exhale, placing your spine back down onto the ground. Good. We're gonna go 1 more time. Inhaling here. As you exhale, peel that spine off till you're up. We're gonna go for 1 more set of marching. So sinking weight into the left, lifting to tabletop, lowering, switching sides, lifting to tabletop, lowering, inhaling to pause, exhaling bone by bone, coming back down onto the mat. Good. Okay, bringing your knees into your chest and just rolling side to side to just give yourself a little release. Okay, we're moving on to some abdominal work. So coming back to start position, feet on the ground, checking in, is your spine in neutral? Is your lower back have that natural arch? Good. Taking your hands, hammocking your head into your hands. So when you hammock your head into your hands, I want you to really make sure your arms really take the weight of the hands when we come into the chest lift. So no pressure on the neck. Your head is heavy. You know, like we all know from the old Jerry Maguire movie that the head weighs 8 pounds, which is heavy. So your arms should be on. Your triceps should be working as you come up into a chest lift. Okay. Inhaling to prep. As you exhale, lifting head, neck, shoulders off the ground. Remember, head is heavy, and then inhaling back down. Good. Exhale, coming back up, inhaling back down. Keep going with this pattern of movement and breathing. When you come up, I want you to imagine your rib cage is gliding towards your hip and then gliding away from your hip as you come down. So as your ribs come up to glide towards your hip, you're making that rib to hip connection. The rib to hip connection is your deep abdominals really firing. This is what's going to make you strong. Good. Let's go 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Coming up into a little twist. So let's inhale here. As you exhale, you're going to come up the same way, but you're going to reach your right hand towards the outside of your knee, and then return. Opposite side, right hand towards the left knee, and then return. Good. We're going for 4, 3, head is heavy, 2, and 1. Good. How was that? Hopefully that was okay on your abdominals. Okay, we're gonna come up, sorry, we're still doing the chest lift, keeping your head heavy in your hands. We're coming into a tabletop position. So tabletop position, your legs are on tabletop, so they're 90 degrees and directly over your pelvis, still stacked like we were on 4-point kneeling. And your spine is in neutral. If it's too heavy and neutral, you can imprint that spine and do this chest lift that way. So spine in neutral for more of a challenge, or spine imprinted for less of a challenge. Okay, inhaling to start. As you exhale, up into chest lift and down. Exhale up, inhale down, making sure your belly is flat. If this is too hard, you can put the soles of your feet back down on the floor. Good, and we're going for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Holding here, coming into our side reaches. Let's inhale to prep. As you exhale, reach to the right with your left hand, lower. Reach opposite, lower. Good, we're going for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower everything down for a breather. Okay, we're still gonna work on abs here, but we're gonna do a roll up to get us to sitting. So we'll do 2 types of roll ups. This is the assisted roll up here. So getting the backs of your knees. This is continuing on with our spine mobility. So this will also improve back pain if you do it correctly. Okay, so the key to this move is you're gonna use the push and pull, pushing of your hand and pulling of your legs away, this movement. So let's inhale to prep. As you exhale, your chin goes to your chest. Imagine your feet are heavy bricks and you come up like a bottom of a rocking horse and then restack your spine. Good, inhaling, lengthen that spine to the ceiling. As you exhale, tucking the pelvis under, coming back into your controlled roll down. If you find that easy, you can do a full roll up, which is you're extending your hands, extending your legs, and you come up, arcing, inhale to arc, exhale to come up. Good. Restack, coming down on the bottom. So do whichever feels good. If it's the assisted, remember using your knees to come up and then untuck to come down, or full roll up is hands above and legs extended and you come up. If this is a little bit more ab work, but also spine mobility. Okay, good. Do 1 more of your variation and you're gonna meet me at sitting. If you would like to have a drink of water, now would be a good time to do it. We're gonna do 1 last push as we are over halfway. Okay, so coming into sitting, easier. Let's start with the easier version and then I'll give you the harder version. So remember, sitting tall, soles of the feet on the floor, and you're holding the backs of your knees. Inhaling here, as you exhale, you're gonna scoop your belly to roll back and then inhale up. Exhale, scoop back, inhale up. Good. Keep going with this breath pattern. Keep going with this movement. If you want to challenge, you can let go of those knees, hands, palms of the hands face each other, and you're rolling back and up. So you might be scooping down a little bit lower each time. Challenge your body. This is what's going to make all the difference in terms of strength. This is what's going to make all the difference in terms of complementing all your other activities that you do every day. Good. Okay, let's go for 6 more. 6, 5, 4, scooping that belly, coming down a little bit lower each time. Good. 2, last one, and restacking that spine. Okay, staying here, we're going to do a twist variation here. So you can do this variation both with your hands forward or your legs, your hands in the back of your legs. I'll start with this version. So let's inhale, lengthen that spine. As you exhale, you're going to scoop back, but you're going to come to the right side and your elbow is going to lead the way and your gaze is going to follow and then return opposite side. Good, so you stick with that. Otherwise, if you want to challenge, inhale up, exhale back, switch, switch, switch. Good. You might not be able to scoop as far back as you're twisting, but I want you to go as far back as you can, really pushing your oblique muscles. Good. And let's go for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Restacking that spine, crossing those legs, go for a little stretch. So I want you to just stretch those abs with your fingertips behind you onto the ground. Open your chest in front of you. Okay, good. Before we come back onto the mat, I want to do one more prep here. So holding the backs of your legs, you're going to balance on your sit bones. So balancing on your sit bones, I want you to lift one leg lower and then the other lower. If you can do both to balance, or if you want a challenge, you can let go of that leg and do lift and lowers here, or balance. Eventually the goal is to go straight, which is called a teaser, but we'll get there. This is day 2. So I just want you to do the prep work, and the prep work is hard enough, so good. Okay, let's just go 2 more breaths, whichever variation. Good. Soles of the feet down, coming onto your side. So coming onto your side, your lower hand is bent, your head is rested, your knees are 90 degrees in front of you. Your joints are stacked as possible on your shoulders, and your hips are going to stay stacked this whole time. Pull that waist down so there's a natural curve in your waist to keep that neutral spine lying on your side. Okay, let's go to our start position. Our start position is the top leg is hip height. The knee and the ankle will stay on the same plane the whole time. Okay, inhaling here. As you exhale, lift and lower, lift and lower. Good. So in this position, I want you to picture it's your hips that are opening and closing. So your legs are not really moving. You're not moving from your knee. You're moving by opening those hips as you stay stacked. Try not to lean back or lean forward. If you need support, that hand can come in front of you. Good. And we're lifting and lowering for 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding the start. You're drawing circles with that knee on an imaginary wall in front of you. So still moving from that hip bone. Imagine your hip bone is some mortar and pestle and you're grinding peppercorns. Good. And we're going for 3, 2, 1. Switching directions. I know it's burning. You're doing well. Good. Let's go for 3, 2, 1. Lower everything down. Good. Okay. Punching out those glute muscles here. Let's do a quick stretch before we switch sides. So hammocking your head here, coming into an inhale. As you exhale, open that elbow, your gaze follows, coming into a spinal twist. Good. Holding in an inhale, exhaling to return. And again, opening up and then returning. Think of this as you rinsing out that spine, rinsing it out of stress and toxins and tightness. Good. Let's hold this for 2 breaths. Holding open, feeling that your chest open, feeling your shoulders open. Good. And returning back to start. Okay, let's flip over. Let's do the opposite side. My glute is still sore from this side. Okay, resting your head on your bottom hand. Knees are bent 90 degrees, pulling that waist down. Remember, a sense of space under that waist. Okay, let's get right into it. In to start. That bottom glute should still be burning. On your next exhale, lifting and lowering. Lifting and lowering. Good. Lifting, lowering. Good. Let's go for 6, 5, opening at the hip. 4, 3, 2, 1. Keeping it hip height, circles. Bring that mortar and pestle back. You're grinding peppercorns in your hip bone, in your hip socket. Good. We're going for 4, 3, 2, 1. Switching directions. Keeping your ankle and your knee in the same line as possible. Okay, good. I promise I'm counting. Let's go. 1 more breath. Lowering everything down, punching out your glute muscles, coming into our spine stretch. So hammocking your head in your hands, inhaling to prep as you exhale, opening up to the other side. Good. Inhaling, pause, exhale to return. So our shoulders may feel different on this side. You're normally tighter on one side of your shoulder than the other. If you're dominant with the movement in one side will definitely be tighter. You might not be able to go as far down here, or you might be able to go even further down. Okay, let's hold to open. Let's hold it 2 breaths to really, really get a last twist in our spine. So let's inhale. Big exhale. One more time. Big inhale through the nose. Big exhale through the mouth. Good. Returning back to start. Okay, coming back to 4-point kneeling. We're going to do a little bit of arm work here. So coming back to 4-point kneeling, remember 4-point kneeling. Actually, don't worry about that cup of tea here, but I kind of want you to still to keep your pelvis as level as possible. I don't want you to sink into this. I want you to keep lifted, chest is open. From here, we're going to do a little arm work. So little push up and a little elbow tap. This is what it looks like. Inhale, pause, exhale. You're going to lower down to however low you want to go. You could just be here, or you come all the way down. I want you to keep your triceps in. Coming up, you're going to rock back, tap those elbows onto the ground, rock forward to your push up, rock back, tap those elbows to the ground. Okay, come on and join me if you haven't already. So as you come down, exhale, inhale up, exhale, tap, inhale, rock forward, exhale down. So always inhale at the top, exhale as you do the work. I want you to keep your elbows as close to your body as possible when you come down for your push-up. It might not feel like a lot to start, but I promise you, after a while, you'll start to feel the burn. I feel the burn. Okay, belly is in. Breathing to tap, inhale, breathe to lower. Good. Actually, we could still have that imaginary cup of tea on our sacrum, actually. That will make sure your pelvis stays level and there's no sudden movements. I want slow, controlled movement. Good. Okay, let's go 3 more. 3, 2, whew, last one, 1. Good. Last tap, coming into a child's pose. So untucking those toes, pelvis reaches towards those heels, dropping your head down, pressing the hands onto the mat, and enjoy that stretch in your shoulders. Good. Let your trunk just melt down into the mat. Good. Okay, we're almost out of time. We're going to end on a roll up now. So on your next exhale, I want you to come up into your ragdoll position, which is what we did in the start of class. So softening those knees here, letting your upper body fall over your lower belly, releasing your head, releasing your neck. How does this ragdoll feel compared to the beginning of class? Hopefully, your spine feels a little bit taller. There's a little bit more space between those vertebrae. Okay, from here, take an inhale. As you exhale, I want you to slowly restack your spine, scooping up as you come up. Your head is last to come up. Ooh, when you come up, roll those shoulders back, quick side stretch, and you are done for Friday morning. Hopefully you're as sweaty as I am. Thank you, everybody, for attending this morning. I'm so glad no more technical difficulties. So I'm sending off a stretch video for all you guys this morning. So hopefully you can use it over the weekend to get an extra stretch. Otherwise, I'll see you all Monday morning, bright and early. Thank you, ladies.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Good weekend, everyone.
Right.